Hey, Kate.
Hello.
Yeah, just in 1 second. Thank you to logging earlier. So I will make you to be the co-host. Yeah, we come here earlier, so there's nobody here yet. So how's your summer?
It's been very good, just very busy.
Oh, okay.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay.
Yeah, I cannot hear your voice. Seems like you're mute, right?
I know. Should I just get started right now?
Yeah, I think we can start.
Okay, so today I will be discussing AI and game making since I took a lovely course on it at Smith College a few weeks ago. So I'm taking what I learned and will be teaching it now. Okay, so just for the sections of what we'll be discussing today, we'll start off with the applications of AI and the ethics discussed along with these applications of AI. And then we'll discuss some resources for coding practice and also finally getting to the most exciting part, game making. So for the AI applications and ethics, we'll just watch a few relatively short videos on some very interesting and relatively new AI technologies that are growing in prominence before moving on to kind of discuss their pros and cons. So first we'll be discussing some self-driving cars.
Google is finally getting serious.
Or sorry, wait.
Google is finally getting serious about self-driving cars. As in, it's getting serious about making self-driving cars and putting them in consumer hands. Now, the tech giant is finally making its own self-driving car company called Waymo. In the 7 years of the original experimental phase, Google has put more than a few notches in its belt. After more than 2 million miles of driving, its cars can dodge jaywalkers and interpret hand signals from construction workers. They've mastered the dance of the four-way stop. They pull over for emergency vehicles and they brake for squirrels. To prove it's ready, Google's car carried a passenger around public roads with nobody around to take control in case something went wrong.
We drove all over the Bay Area and showed that, yes, indeed, we had the capability. This trip was about showing that we can actually take that capability and turn it into something that's ready to go out into the real world.
Oh, and that passenger? He's legally blind. The drive was a quick 10-minute or so loop around the Texas Capitol, which conveniently doesn't have any laws saying you have to have a human backup for a self-driving car. But for Steve Mahan, it was a really big deal.
Going where I need to go in a vehicle without having to make arrangements with other drivers or a family member or some form of public transportation. It just let me be a whole person again.
Ever since deciding to make a fully driverless car, one without a steering wheel or pedals, Google has harped on the potential to put anybody who can't drive back in command of a vehicle. And now that Google's finally talking about bringing that technology to market, a fresh litany of challenges arises. To hit the ground in cities around the world, Waymo must map every inch of every street it's going to travel. It has to drive down hardware costs and prove its software to the public and to public officials. It has to navigate a spaghetti bowl of regulations that change from city to state to country, a lot of which haven't even been written yet. It has to figure out how to manufacture cars and then squeeze money out of a newborn industry that's already crowded. But if they can figure it out, they'll have at least one customer ready to hop aboard.
I'm piling up a list of all the places I need to go.
Okay, so now to discuss the pros of this futuristic self-driving car. So of course, as the video discussed, it increases accessibility to roads, such as different types of disabled people who are unable to drive on their own. For example, the man in the video who was blind, or people who have physical impairments that don't let them drive. Or this could even apply to um teenagers or even younger kids that if they need a ride from a parent, but a parent isn't available and they don't have a driver's license that will let them drive on their own, this would then allow them to have a ride without having to have an adult driving. And this also increases efficiency. For example, if one of those people who are unable to drive needs a ride, instead of waiting 30 minutes to an hour for an Uber or a relative to drive all the way to where they are to come pick them up, they can instead have no wait time and just get into this car on their own without needing to drive. There are, however, some potential cons to this. The first one being a potential lack of accountability. Again, such as how the video was discussing, laws up regulating self-driving cars still haven't really been made. So if an accident were to happen, there is no like set person to take accountability. For example, is it if an accident happens, is it the person in the vehicle that takes accountability, even though they weren't physically driving? Or is it the company that made the cars? Or maybe is it the person that provides the data that the car for the car's AI to help it drive? And another con is that it could potentially be unreliable for special road conditions, such as, for example, if a natural disaster or if an unpredictable driver comes around, if the car's data set doesn't have like the information on what to do in that certain scenario, it won't really know what to do. For example, if it was a human driver, it would have the human mind has its own creativity to rely on. Even if it doesn't know exactly what to do in a scenario, the human mind doesn't have to rely on other data to decide what to do. Meanwhile, an AI is only as good as the data it is trained on. So if the self-driving car isn't trained on all the data for every single possible driving condition in the world, it won't be able to handle special road conditions. So this next video is on what I find extremely interesting, an AI CEO.
Hello, I'm Mika, the world's first experimental AI CEO at Dictador. It's great to connect with you. World's largest from several million dollars. I meticulously research, conduct background checks, and verify potential client lists, providing well-reasoned decisions to the board.
The great advantage of having a robot CEO AI that can provide you additional features to the company and give you an advantage in this very competitive world. It's a bright future, and we are living in a very dynamic, changing world. So it's a quest.
Round valued at 100 million euros. Tokens will represent physically ready products, including limited collectors and investment models. Well, as a robot CEO, I don't really have weekends. I'm always on, 24/7, ready to make executive decisions and stir up some AI magic.
So, of course, now talking about the pros of this really cool AI CEO, as she said at the end, she's on 24/7, meaning she's constantly available. So while human workers, they of course need to have weekends, off days, and of course they need sleep, they won't be constantly available, and you would have to wait for a few business days to be able to communicate with them. However, meanwhile, this AI CEO, since all she needs to rely on is a battery life or some kind of electric power, she is constantly awake and constantly available. And another pro is that she has quick data analysis. So she'd be able to go through company statistics, what the best sales price is, as she discussed. She kind of helps decide like what artists the company hires, and also what clients they take on. So she's able to do that data analysis very quickly, similar to how if you were to try doing long division by hand on paper on your own, versus it's going to take a lot longer time than just entering it into a calculator. So the cons of this AI CEO could is the first one is similar to the issue with the self-driving car, is a dependence on data quality, since once again an AI is only as good as the data set it is trained on. If the data set it's trained on somehow has some kind of bias, even if unintentional, the AI that's created based off of that data set is going to end up being biased. And of course, one of the more controversial things about AI right now is that it could be taking away jobs, and this AI CEO, it is part of those concerns. However, there are still, for example, people being employed to provide the data sets and kind of keep maintenance over this AI, so it could be both a pro and a con. So lastly, for now, video wise, we'll be talking about AI powered NPCs, diving into the actual integrating it into games.
Greetings, Detective. I'm Special Agent Jones. You have been authorized by the Metropolis Bureau of Investigations to conduct interviews with possible witnesses.
What do you know about the crime scene?
What are you doing here?
Is it dangerous here?
It's hard to say. We're still piecing together the evidence.
I saw some humans running away from the building shortly after the fire started.
Detective, I believe someone is watching us.
This is a delicate situation. Let the professionals handle it. We wouldn't want anyone to get hurt, now would we?
Why would you say that?
Listen carefully, detective. This is no place for a rookie cop. If you know what's good for you, then turn back now before someone gets hurt.
You seem different from the other robots.
I saw the boss on no life star in the explosion. It made me feel something for the first time, and I don't know what to do with these feelings.
So all of this character was created by
So
AI?
that game, repeat that question.
Is all of these characters was created by AI? So you see their
Yeah, all of their dialogue. Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, just checking. So yeah, all of the AI's dialogue was fueled by AI, and all of this was thanks to this game engine called In-World AI. And you would check out this website if you want to learn more and learn about all the different games that use it. So essentially, all of these AI bots have like a baseline saying like who the character is as a person, but all of the dialogue is AI generated based on what it is given, creating a unique user experience for every single person who plays the game. So no dialogue is or playthrough of the game is ever going to be the same, and that applies to all of the different games that uses this AI engine. So next, we'll be getting more into the resources to learn some coding practice in JavaScript. Mainly starting off with Pickcode. It was made in 2022 as part of Code.org's uh, Hour of Code initiative. And this is incredibly useful for learning the more visual aspects of coding, like generating different colors at random, making canvases, making shapes. You do need to make an account. However, for this next resource, P5 Play, you do not. This is all in browser, no account needed. So this part, so P5 is essentially a library or a subset of JavaScript. So in this browser, you can learn about all the different how to make shapes, how to generate different images. Like I'll just show a few examples very quickly. So right here, you can even toggle it in the browser to kind of change the shapes. For example, this is a square right now, but then you could change it slightly to make it a rectangle. And then even after that, it kind of shows how to make different physics to these objects, like adding gravity, adding a rising platform. And here it shows like how to generate different images and even make pixel art. And it even shows like, for example, it shows how it can follow your mouse to interact with different objects. And of course, if you take these skills you learn and put them together, you can make a game with it. So, you could take what you learned here and then use it in the P5 Play browser editor. And I'll just give an example of what you can do with it. So this just takes like making a shape, making different color canvases, and just shows like these two different size balls bouncing around. However, you can use the website and other online tutorials to kind of edit this code and make it even more interesting to kind of you could potentially make something happen on an event when the balls hit each other. Maybe they could change colors, for example. And all of this can be learned on the website or on other tutorials online. And it's just a great resource all around. So now we'll be moving on to the most fun part, in my opinion, which is the actual game making. So AI can be used to help generate different concepts. So, for example, I really like pastel colors and space, so I wanted to make a game based on that. So, I used two different AI image generators to kind of get an idea for some character designs. So, I typed in the same prompt for both of these. Pastel humanoid alien girl character designs for an arcade style game. So Adobe Firefly on the left typically generates more 3D results, while Bing's image creator generates typically more 2D results. So Adobe Firefly, you make an account, and each account you make gets 25 free tries with the AI. And sadly, the problem is you have to buy more, but 25 is already a lot. And each try you do it, you get 4 free image generations, and there's a lot of cool features. For example, if you like the top left image the best, you can hit the image and say, I want an image with this pose but with different features, and it can generate new results based on that. And meanwhile, on the right, Bing image creator doesn't have those same exact features, but the good thing is you can generate even more options and for free. For example, all you have to do is log in with a Microsoft account, and every day you get 15 free boosts, which essentially puts you in the priority of the line for the AI generation. And even after you use those 5 daily boosts up, you can still keep using the AI. It's just that it might take a bit longer since you're no longer being put at the priority line, but those 15 boosts replenishes daily. You don't, and also for this concept generation, you don't only have to use it for character designs. You could also enter a prompt in for a cool landscape. Like if you want a certain planet design, you could say like pink and cyan planet, and it can generate images based on that. So next we'll be moving on to what I feel like is less discussed, since a lot of people know about AI art now, but not about AI music generation. So and um all of these websites on the top left can take a recording of music and then transcribe it into actual sheet music. For example, I'll be using Piano 2 Notes for the sake of this example, but let's just take Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish. Just copy this, and let's just go from the start. Give me a moment. You can just So you'd go to the website, and you could just enter the YouTube link of a piano tutorial, and then you just hit transcribe, and it generate after you enter all your settings, it generates pretty fast. It says it's an estimated 1 minute, but typically it takes around like 30 seconds maybe. And this is really good for if you want to add like a song to your game, but you don't know where to find the music for it. You can just use programs like this. For example,
We cannot hear the
so
playback of the song.
what?
We cannot hear the playback of the song. So
Were you able to hear it just now?
it's really stacked, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So one quick
Even-
question: Is this website only transfer the music which played in the piano to notes, or all the instrument?
This specific website is only piano, but as I
Okay.
was saying earlier, these
Yeah, I
websites,
see the guitar and sing.
yeah.
Okay.
So, and I'm sure you can find other websites that use AI to generate for other instruments. So essentially after this, you can take this music here and then put it into whatever music maker on your game engine. For example, this on the left was not AI generated, but it's the same concept. You can take the notes that you want and just put it straight into your music maker. I use Microsoft MakeCode, which I'll be discussing more in just a moment. So this website is almost like Microsoft's version of Scratch. All you have to do is just import all you just have to do is log in with a Microsoft account, and it has a lot of amazing resources. It has unlike Scratch, this Microsoft MakeCode is specifically made to help create games. So essentially there are, like, for example, if you look on the bottom left image, it shows some tutorials and different skill maps for different levels, and you can then take what you learn and make your own games with it. For example, and it has a lot of interesting resources, such as in the top left image, you can use block coding, but also on the right, you could see that you can also code in JavaScript. For example, since the earlier resources like Pickcode and P5, though you could take what you learned in those resources and apply it to actually coding your game. And there's also an as shown in the middle bottom image, that you can draw pixel art in the browser. Sadly, it's pretty difficult to actually import actual images into this, but you can still use AI for to help you come up with your concepts for your art or generate different pose references. And also even if you don't use MakeCode, if you use Scratch instead or some other coding platform, you could then actually import the actual AI images. So this was my game. Like I said earlier, I made a pastel space themed game, and I used AI to help me kind of write the script, come up with ideas, the character names, and we'll take a bigger look at this game. I'll just play a very quick demo. So this entire game is about 5 minutes long, but it's the same mini game over and over that kind of gets harder. I actually based this game on a tutorial that was built into this platform called Catch the Clover. So it just showed how you can catch things, and also it has a built-in live system. As you see, if you hit the asteroid, you automatically lose a life, and that is built into the platform, which is something really cool and unique about MakeCode. You can also add animations to your games, which you can see in just a moment. For example, when you defeat the boss, she then explodes and then you won. So that will be it for the game demo, but you can also draw your own assets, and let's take a look at the music maker, for example. So there's a lot of different sound options that all sound like they could be in actual video games. And they're all unique, and so you can add either just treble clef or you can add a bass clef. You can also change the tempo of your song, and you can essentially take what the AI transcribed for you and put all your favorite songs into your games, which is very cool. And as I was saying earlier, you can draw all of your own assets with the help of AI, and you have the options to do block coding, or you can also do JavaScript using the resources that I mentioned earlier. And if you ever like need help with the coding, there are multiple resources you can use. The first, of course, which would be the fastest, you can of course ask AI to help you, but if that's doesn't work out, there is a forum for MakeCode where you can ask real people who've been using the platform for a while for help, or see pre-existing questions. And here are also some tutorials on YouTube tutorials on importing assets, so you can actually use the AI generated images you created. And lastly, here's also a resource on how to change the console colors. For example, as you can see in this top left image, I use kind of a pastel pink and blue. And there are a bunch of different themes you can use, all that are shown in this tutorial. And that is all. Any questions?
Okay, I ask the first question. Is this platform also able to create the multiplayer game, or that's just for the single player?
Yes, it is. You can create multiplayer. Like, for example, some games use WASD keys and others use arrow keys, but you can program it so that it has to be in person, but you can do it so one person uses the WASD keys and the other player uses the arrow keys.
I see.
There's specifically a function built into the program that allows you to use player 2.
Okay. And another question from what I observed is that looks like the resolution is not really very good. Is that in purpose, or that's just because you choose like that?
What do you wait, can you just rephrase the question? Sorry.
Yeah, when you show the game, looks like each sprite what you build, the resolution is not really very high. So it seems like it's a low resolution.
Yeah, it's kind of like old school arcade games. That's why it's
Okay.
called MakeCode Arcade, so it's intentionally pixelated.
It's intentionally. Okay, I got it.
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't believe the technically wide, they cannot support the high resolution. That's not the case, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any other question from the audience? Okay. Yeah, that's really very eye-open experience for us. And we all know a little bit about how we use ChatGPT, but for the game development, this is the first time I see from the end-to-end include how to build the background music, also includes the coding part, how they can break down So really appreciate for your time, and yeah, I just really hope all of our audience just get some interesting point and then probably give it a try. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.